following program is intended for a mature listening audience. Graphic and explicit language may be heard at times. The views expressed and opinions given by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily express those of this station or sponsors. Listeners are advised that neither the station nor owners and agents will be held liable for the content of this program. Rebroadcast, redistributed, or reused without the express written permission without the host or producer is not allowed. You are listening to Family Spirit International.
What's up, Blaine? How you doing?
It is Monday night again, ready for rocking the Family Spirit International show. How was your weekend, Lee?
Oh, it was busy. It was super busy. Listen, I was doing a conference and I found out that the conference was actually located, it had been previously it had been a farm. And the lady that owned the farm did not believe in slavery. And she was a multimillionaires, and this was during the time of slavery. What she did was she would buy a slave, let them pay off the note for what she paid, and then allow them to live for free
Right
on the farm. And she had a family cemetery near her home, but on the other side of the farm, people that lived on the farm and worked on the farm, of course, they got paid and everything. There was a cemetery there.
Interesting.
It wasn't marked, Blaine.
Yeah,
And the building that I was working in was partially on top of the cemetery. And a lot of the people figured out that I was a ghost hunter, and they came by, to say hello and whatnot. And they said, "Well, could you tell me what's going on here? Because when we go into the men's restroom to clean, like we'll go in the women's and then we'll come out and go to the men's, and the sink will be running back in the women's room." And I thought, oh my goodness. So everything was just, it has been that crazy there. And I want to show you a video that I took right after that gentleman who has worked there for decades, after he told me that, he has been doing something in the restrooms and double checking. He was opening up conferences and the conference room doors were shut that night. He said, somebody wanted to talk to me. And I said, well, dude, what what did you do? And he said, well, I went into the restroom, and when I came out, it's this guy right here.
Oh, wow.
And, okay, and he had worked there. He actually was watching Repossessed and then wondered what in the world, because he looked up and there I was standing there in the booth ahead of him. And he was looking at his phone, looking at me, and he came over and said, wait a minute, are you are you from the show I'm watching? And I was like, yeah. He said, funny thing, because when I was setting up the show, this is what happened. Okay, ready for the video?
Yeah.
The sink is running.
Oh, sure is.
I got to turn the thing off. Let me get out of here and stop the see if I can do it from here. I'll turn the blur off. No, that's not it. Okay, I'll figure it out in a little bit. Let me try playing it again. Pull it back a little bit. No. There.
Wow.
And the sink is running.
Goodness.
You can hear it.
Yeah, you can.
And I'm the only one in the bathroom. Yeah. So here I am at work, and I'm like, some things never change,
I'm telling you.
And he had just said it happens in that bathroom. Go in there. I'm the only one there. And then she made herself known.
Wow.
I was like, wow, that's so crazy. I was so excited. I kept saying, hello, thank you for introducing yourself. My name is Lee, But wait. Oh, no, Luna, don't do that.
What is that evil child doing?
She eating my earbud.
Luna.
I knew she had something, and she would chew it and spit it out, chew it and spit it out, and it's the replaceable ones that you get for your
Oh, yeah.
earbuds. She kept. Oh
Looney
my
Tuna.
god!
I swear to God, Luna Tuna.
So, one of my friends came up to me. Hey, Michael, how are you? Hey, David.
Yeah, hi,
A lot
y'all.
of people. Gwen. Hey, Gwen. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You mean the world to us.
Yep.
We're going to be talking tonight about some methods of investigation. And I hope that those of you that have psychic ability and that are investigating with a team, I hope, hey, Thomas, I've got a question for you too. If you're in a situation where you can come on tonight, I would love to ask you something because I know you work with a psychic and you're an investigator. And that's actually the topic I wanted to cover tonight. If you have a second to come on, I know that's kind of quick notice there, but um, I've been working with a student that has got, well, two students. Well, if you want to go with there, I've got three that have psychic ability. Um, and that doesn't include Bobby and Tammy because they do.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy, I call him my psychic shopper. I pulled up. I just flew in from Memphis, and then we went out to eat. And then I said, "We need to go to Ben Buster's. Something's there we need to get." And I pulled up, and guess who's sitting there in the parking lot?
Send
Andy.
send Thomas the link.
Oh, thank you, Thomas. I'm not on Facebook. I asked that, and then I'm not on Messenger. I'm sending it to you right now, dear. Okay, because this is a big deal. And oh, by the way, Blaine, we've got a case, missing person.
Okay.
So we'll talk after, okay?
All right.
Okay.
I'm just putting feelers out there now. So
Thank you. Okay, Thomas, I'm sending you the link right now, okay? Thank you for coming to help.
yeah, thank you.
Oh dear, that's not it. I was about to send him the wrong thing.
Oh no.
And there it is. So, lots of times when people are psychic or they are working with a psychic in a paranormal investigation setting.
Oh, thank you, dear.
What happened? Oh, is
Thank you,
that?
sweetheart.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't get to see her.
Hey,
Hey, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hey, sweetheart. Love you.
Hey, how are ya? Now you can have your what's for dinner segment.
Yep. Now she gave me.
Oh,
She brought me some homemade chicken pot pie. Oh my God, y'all! This smells so good.
she's such a
So
sweetheart,
just
y'all.
bear with me. I'm gonna eat while we're on the show. So let it cool.
Everybody
Some.
watching, listen, everybody watching. Michael, I hope you're hearing this. David, is Roger with you, David? I think he is. Okay, so we'll oh, Michael said, "Hey now, don't start getting me hungry."
Hey, Mike, this stuff smells divine. Let me tell you.
I tried to eat yogurt a few minutes ago and my dogs took it from me.
It's good. That's good.
So, of course it's good. I would love to spend some time with Jennifer. So, we just want to let everybody know that, we're all going to be at the Deep South Para, Horror Con in June, and not a June, August,
October 5th.
October 5th. Yes. Okay. Somebody, sharing is caring to you, Blaine. He's like, I love the food. Michael, I'm telling you. Oh, hey, Tracy. Hey,
Hi,
sweet
Tracy.
pea. I almost put on the shirt that I bought from her. I bought a shirt that Brandon, um, God bless him. He's got the best ideas, and he's funny he's hilarious. I laughed all the way to Alabama from South Carolina.
We had
It
fun.
was epic, yes. And I've just got to tell you guys, if you haven't been to a paranormal conference, you really are missing out because you get to
Yeah.
go and hang out with people that are like-minded. They're a little different from you, but they're like-minded. And you get to see how other people are investigating, what kind of equipment they. Here he comes. Here comes Thomas. Hey, you.
Hey, brother.
Yeah. So we on the fly asked Thomas to come hang with us because we're working. Yeah, Tracy, I want you to go too. Thank you for coming to the Gilded Bat. We ended up having a lot more than I thought we would. We certainly had a lot more at the Belmont Inn in
Ooh, that was
Abbeville.
a crowd.
That was a huge crowd. So thank you everybody for coming. The class is going to be graduating the 29th of February, and I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it. I mean, and
Oh,
they were the same way. Is it the right? Did I say the right day? Let's see. February.
29th.
Yeah, 29th.
Leap year day.
Leap your day.
Yeah, the 9th, 29th. So, if you can't come on the show, sorry, I couldn't stay longer, but Rich had to work. Yeah, I know he did. And I bought some really cool shirts from Tracy. And what I was saying, I interrupted myself. Brandon you got to get one of these, Thomas. It says Dobo, Dobo on the shirt. And it stands for dolls out, balls out. And it's like haunted dolls and cat balls.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that shirt. And Blaine gave me a big shirt oh man, it's so nice. And it has nerd across the front. It is
Yeah.
so me. So I got to get some of those made, Tracy. Some that say nerd across the chest. And if you have any more of the Dobo shirts of Brandon's, we're going to have to feature those. But first of all, let me find my little basket. I got these in. I had ordered some K2 meters from Temu. Now, Temu is not Wish. Wish things come in, you order a case of toilet paper from Wish, and they come in and they're about this tall, and you could set them on your coffee table, little thing. Wish is really bad. But if you order from Temu, it's actually pretty good stuff. Well, I got some K2 meters that were more sensitive than the expensive ones I bought 10 years ago. These are the ones I just got in from Amazon. They're different colors. This one is red, and I wanted to get one that was orange, and they've got pink and different colors, and they are really bright. And
Okay,
see,
I
it's
claim
picking.
I claim the red one. I want the red one.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean it's really awesome. And since we had the ghost hunts and stuff, I've got since we opened it to the public, I had a little money. So I have some things coming from KD Stafford to be my first Stafford piece, unique piece of paranormal equipment. I got several K2s. I've got a weather radio that I'm hacking myself. Okay, Michael is saying that Timu has a lot of stuff that's cheap. He got some investigative equipment that cost a lot of money, but he got a REM pod. You got a REM pod on Timu? Okay, I'm gonna have to go look at that. Blaine and I are working on some really cool REM pod looking things that we should be able to come out with, in the fall. But I'm not going to talk too much about it because we're thinking about it right now. You realize my honey is your direct connection on some of that stuff, right? Yes, I know it, Tracy. I really need to talk to you about that. So, Thomas, I'm going to switch directions because we're wrapping up the class. It hit me today. I've only got 3 classes left, counting the one tomorrow. It's been a wonderful class. A lot of the class students are actually watching right now, so thank you everybody that's watching. My classmates, they mean everything to me. They're really very amazing. I've got some students that have been with me through several classes, and they're now Tammy and Bobby and Randy are now family spirit, Blaine.
Right on.
You're the first one that's not been blood kin that, actually blood kin
Yeah.
that became family spirits, and now they are. So I'm crying in my heart. But class tomorrow, we're going to talk about psychic abilities. We're going to work on trying to do the SD's method with some of the folks that haven't really done it before, and then do a double SD's method where one person, that's, completely normal, like, no blindfolds, no earphones or anything. They're going to ask questions to the spirit there, and there's 2 ghost boxes. And I'm going to use the IDC ghost box that I got from Prather, Jay Prather, and it's fantastic. And see if we can have an actual conversation where they're asking, one person's asking questions and they're getting answers from more than one person. Have you found any techniques, Thomas, in working with a psychic medium that is the best method? Like whether your psychic likes to go in or not, have any, be completely blank going in and just feeling as they go in, or do they like to know the history? Surely you guys don't overlap where your psychic is saying everything that's going on there. So now it's like, okay, so what did we investigate now? You've told us everything. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what kind of techniques do you have?
I don't know. Can you hear me good?
Sound great.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
perfect. So probably one of the best things for me is I always get the history, everything that's going on, and the psychic is unaware of what's going on. I think
Right
that's the
on.
best way to
Oh, yeah, I agree.
verify, because if you let somebody know, you don't know if they're actually getting something. You have to trust the person that you're working with. And I always think it's the best way is to keep them in the dark about it and see
Mhm.
what they feel, and then to be able to verify. Probably the best case that I did with this was I didn't have a lot of history at a place called Millwrights, and this place is from 1680.
Oh,
So
man.
it's been around. It's seen the history of our country. So we were the first people and the only people to ever investigate this place. And we got very little history, but the only one thing I did know was that there was a possibility that it was a speakeasy at one
Oh, how
time.
cool.
Yeah. So talking about the Estes method is she went in and did the Estes method. I was asking questions, but I asked the questions, but she wasn't answering my questions. It's almost like it was a time slip. She actually went to that era. She was hearing the music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was hearing glasses clink and all,
Oh,
and people
wow.
asking, a guy saying new customers and all that. And when she said that, I asked, "Can you get me a drink?" And later on, when I reviewed the footage, when I said, "Can you get me a drink?" we were near a bar and you could hear the glass clink against the
That's
bar.
pretty
So it
bad.
was pretty amazing. So, and that's just her being able to tune in. When you're
Mhm.
able to tune in, especially with the Estes method, a lot of people got to understand is, yeah, you're hearing voices come through, but you're going into that stage where you're opening yourself up. And a lot of people have to realize is, I talk about this a lot in a lot of my talks, is all psychics are able to put themselves into what's called theta wave.
Yes.
That's that point where you're about to fall asleep or about to wake up. All kids have that from the age of 1 to 7 before critical
Right.
thinking kicks in. But, that's why most kids have their first psychic experience or ghost experience between those ages. They see a loved
Mhm.
one or a grandma that passed away or anything like that. They tell their parents and like, oh my God, they saw grandma. But that's what happens. And psychics are able to put themselves into that theta wave. And I think that's what opens it up. And, that's how we try and tune in. So, and I think with your students you're talking about, that's the thing they have to concentrate on to be able to get to that theta wave. Everybody has it. Everybody's born with psychic abilities. And it's
Thank you
like,
for saying that.
Yep.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it is.
Absolutely.
And I've talked about on other podcasts where it's almost like, you have this ability, but not everybody's Tiger Woods,
Yeah.
right? So, but there's some golfers that are really good golfers.
I can
So you
chip
have to practice.
like a pro though. I'm good at
There you
chipping.
go.
So
Oh
I
yeah.
could drive and chip. That's my
Yeah.
strong
I
point.
can't
Chipping and
drive.
stuff. Well, I
I
can
just
knock
Yeah.
the
keep
shit out of a
knocking
ball.
it, I just keep knocking at it, Finally I get it
That's
there.
exactly. Everybody has different abilities. They get to those points. It's practice. The more you practice, the better
Yeah.
you get at it. That's why there's the Tiger Woods or just some guy that plays on his high school team and was really good, but they're all still good golfers. So that's the thing is I put it at that. but there's so many different types of psychics and how they pick up things, and it's a practice. It's, meeting people like you, Lee, meeting
Oh,
people like you, Blaine,
Yeah.
the people that have been doing it for a while, the people that are just getting into it, they learn and they get to different levels and they have to practice on a daily basis.
now let me
So,
tell you this. Blaine, my father passed away. It's been quite a while, but Blaine's father recently passed, and my grandmother recently
sorry to hear
passed.
that.
And when we are all wound up in our own grief, the family goes to the other one in order to get the message to the other one because
Hmm.
his dad did that for me, and then my grandmother did that with Blaine.
Yep.
Hmm.
And I just thought that was fantastic. I'm glad that we were able to, we're sometimes it's just not flowing. Your energy's not there for whatever reason, and you need all the help you can get. And I'm just glad that my family knew how to get in touch with Blaine.
Hmm.
And my dad was talking to Blaine the other day, and he said, when you talk to Lee, say marshmallows.
Yeah.
And the night before, my granddaughters had been over, and I bought these big marshmallows that had caramel on the inside, so it's perfect for toasting over a fire. And
Mm.
my granddaughters, there was no toasting to it. They saw it ripped open the bag, and they were all, like that. And I
Uh,
said, "Gosh, I wish Dad was here." And then,
mm,
bam, he went to Alabama and told Blaine, I'm in South Carolina, so that's a trip. That's a lot. And he went to Blaine and said, "Tell her marshmallows." And
yeah.
I needed that night. And Blaine had no idea. So having the self-confidence and courage to be able to say, I mean, it's just one word, but that meant Dad saw it. I
Yeah.
said, "I wish Dad could have seen this." And Blaine was, I just wanted to let you know marshmallows. I don't know what that
Mm,
means. And I was like, well, you know. So there's a lot of healing that comes from that.
Oh
mhm.
yeah.
So,
But it's always there. It's always there.
Yes.
I've talked about this a lot. Love never dies. It never leaves you. Your ancestors are there. Your
Yes.
loved ones are always there. They're guiding you. You have your spirit guides, whether they be family or somebody that's attached to you in some way. And you guys know that. I don't need to
Oh
tell
yeah.
you that, but maybe your listeners need to hear that
yes, they
sometimes.
do. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
they do
wrapping up
actually.
this class, and they're more than budding. Some of like Gwen Johns is watching, and she's extremely talented.
Hmm.
In fact, she passed a message to me, Blaine. Well, let me just back up and tell the story. Let's all just y'all bear with me as I go down this little side trail, but it's a beautiful story. Um, the last time we went to see Blaine, we stopped at the Civilian Marksmanship Program. It's a big place where a lot of military guns are turned in from past wars. Usually they're antique, and they've been reworked. And the M1 Garens are there. Oh, thank you, David. Yes, David's here too. So I'll tell you a little bit about him as well. The backstory to this is I wanted a gun that my grandfather would have carried in World War II. And so that was what that my intention was going in. Well, I marched my happy behind in there, and everything there was the type of gun. I mean, it was everywhere. They were everywhere.
Mm.
And I was like, God, how am I going to ever this is too much. I'll never, this isn't going to be good. I'll never find one. I mean, how would I know in the midst of all of this? Needle in a haystack, more like needle in a stack of needles at this point. And so, I was just calling him in my head, I guess. And so I went through and I was going through and I just kind of threw my energy out very simply. I threw my energy out and like a sonar. And I went across and I figured out, okay, I think maybe over here. And then I picked up a gun. I went across the rack, and when I could see it, it popped up like bing, I grabbed it. And Matt said, "That one looks kind of roughly." So I put it back. We mixed it up again. I did this. I closed my eyes, did the same gun several, was it 3 times? Is that what Matt said, Blaine?
Yeah.
And so finally, that we looked it up by the serial number, and it was in the Oriental, like the Asian theater, and it was also at Normandy Beach, and that's where my grandfather was shot.
Mm,
So it would have been on the same beach, whether it was his or not, and it was in the Philippines during the Asian theater, and that's where he was fighting for the United States. So, it was close enough to him where I was able to get it, and they could tell that from the serial number. And
Yeah.
so we went to a gun show trying to find the bayonet that went with it. And Matt did the same thing, and he ended up finding a bayonet. It was the exact same era. It would have had the same age to it as the gun.
Well,
And so we have it together. And then there was a compass that I had found that would have been from the same era, found it at the gun show, same way. I was at a jewelry counter, and I told him, I said, I just felt like I should ask you about this compass. And sure as the world, he had one, and he gave it to me for a real good price. Well, obviously, I paid for it. He didn't give it to me. But I was talking about my grandpa Leon, and Gwen was there. And my grandpa showed up.
yeah, he
I
did.
could see a shadow, and we had a ghost box going. Blaine was here, and he was helping me because he knew that I was emotionally overcome. My mom got to hear her father's voice for the first time.
Yep.
Mm.
And
Yep.
Gwen was there. Andy was there, of course, Blaine and Matt. And, there's a lot of all of that to say that's the kind of thing that you need to be able to do and to tune in and have control to be able to find. Yes, Becky, it was awesome. Thank you for watching, by the way. Becky Evans was with me whenever I met you, Thomas, at the
Yeah.
NASCon.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Becky, congratulations on the new ride. It looks nice.
Oh, good. She got a new car. Good
She
job,
did.
girl. Good
Mm.
job, girl. I missed that. She's a sweetheart.
I hope she's ready to travel. So I know she's needing to leave where she's at, and I wish nothing but the best for her. She's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
me too.
Well,
Yeah, me
last
too.
I heard, she's moving back to Alabama, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she
Yep.
is. She had a couple of hiccups, but she's back with it now.
Yeah.
Sometimes, things can sweep you off your feet, but she's doing
Hmm.
good.
So,
Yeah.
Becky, you're close enough now as we do the Deep South Paracomic-Con haunted show down in
Ozark.
Ozark. You will be able to come down because it won't be too far for you.
It won't be. And yeah, she said she is in Alabama. So
Right on. Welcome home.
Becky, you should definitely come to that Paracon. The
Yes.
Fox family, Jeremy Leonard, me, Blaine,
Hmm.
Brandon will be coming. Why don't you come, Thomas?
Got to
That's
get on
kind
a
of
flight. I
yeah.
tell you, between what I do up here, I barely have time to breathe.
I
I'm
know.
Oh,
doing
man.
so much stuff as, the Archangel, the paranormal, but I'm also doing stuff with Charles Rosenet, the shaman and the showman. So I got double duty going on, and yeah, we got a lot of stuff planned. It's a
Right on.
matter of trying to find the time to get in there because I have a normal job too that I gotta be responsible for too. So it's hard for me to get the time, but I'd
Yeah.
love to
Well,
come
can you
down there
tell
with
us?
you guys.
Would you tell us a little bit about the Archangel? Well, both that you're doing. Tell us a bit about it, because
Well, the Archangel or the paranormal, that's been my moniker for God over 20 years now.
right.
That's my home investigations, my residential stuff that I do, and I've been known for that. I think it's more of, as I've talked about before, my main goal in the paranormal is I help with a psychology background. I like to help the living and the dead.
I
Yes.
I like to
know.
I like to counsel them. Sometimes the living manifests their experience, and
Hmm.
sometimes the dead needs to tell their story to make that decision in their own head to move on because they still have free will. I could tell you all I want, hey, you need to move on. But it's like a smoker. I could tell you all I want, quit smoking, quit smoking. Until you make that decision, you're not going to quit smoking. So it's the same thing in the spirit world. You give
Yep.
them the words and you hope they make the decision that they're comfortable to, maybe move on or whatever we perceive that is, because we don't know.
Yeah.
We really don't know. We're not 100% right or wrong about the paranormal, but we keep trying things and we keep trying to see things. We keep talking, we keep asking the questions, trying all the different experiments to see what really is going on. I don't think we'll ever know until we actually pass
I
ourselves.
agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree there, and I do feel
I
that
me
it's
too.
different even then.
Hmm.
What happens to me is not going to be what happens to you
Yeah.
when we all pass. So, there's a lot of things, People are on different paths, even in the spirit world, and it's wonderful. Like what you said, when a psychic can go in a time slip and be able to see a little glimpse of the past in that dimension, or they can actually speak to the people that are living um, in the spirit world and be able to answer those kinds of questions. But I feel like psychics sell themselves short a lots of times because they feel like they have to predict things all the time, work it, work it, work it, work it, and it's not the case. It's about the experience for them too.
Yeah, exactly. So,
So,
with history is probably one of the most important things that we need to know.
I
I've talked
agree.
about this before. As we see things, as a lot of psychics are able to predict or anything like that, I still think they're given the gift of what they talked about scientifically, that Einstein said that time is relative and we're all on
yes,
the same timeline, past, present, and future is all running parallel to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it shifts sometimes because light bends, light is time, it shifts over, and we're able to witness that and able to give people information when they're open to it, like you guys are, both of you, and able to get, like I talked about before, that theta wave, to be able to pick up on those things, that dreamlike sequence, knowing that something's coming, that feeling that we get, what we have to develop. We all have it. It's a matter of developing it, being aware of it. And I've told you before, I think we have this conversation about coincidence. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in coincidence. I believe
Big,
it's our spirit guides telling us, be aware, something's going on, pay attention. So
right.
and that's what it
oh yeah,
is.
and mine's very vocal about it. Janawa, when she wants something known, she'll pop me upside the back of the head. And go, I
Mhm.
said, listen. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty fierce. Minnie is she's old fashioned. She comes and whenever when she feels she's needed. She kind of leaves me hanging sometimes. I'm saying, Minnie, come to me. And sometimes she's not there, and it's like, okay, maybe I didn't really need you that much that time.
It is
So,
funny. Sometimes they don't come to us the way we're asking for them. They don't. But
Exactly.
I think they trust us that we know the answer. We need to trust ourselves
Mm-hmm.
sometimes too. And you got to realize that. So we have
Yeah,
the answer. Trust it. So,
yeah.
so what I want to throw this out there for both of you too. The stone tape theory is that, well, everything is energy, and
mhm,
that you should look at um, energy, how it. Let's see if I can get my words together. Basically, it's the theory that it became popular, I guess, about the 20th century, that the past and the present are all on the same
mhm,
line.
Yes.
That's where the tape came from, and that it's actually being recorded. Okay,
mhm,
and so whenever you talk about the stone tape theory, uh, the past is a very short hop away, and it explains a lot more about. Uh, well, it's right from the rise of spiritualism during the 19th
Mm-hmm.
century, but it explains the first dimension theory. Of course, science has been able to prove there's seven, which means there's hundreds, if not
There's
thousands.
infinite.
Yeah. So, I just feel like we're on the right path with that. I feel like in our lifetime, we're going to hear a lot more things and see a lot more things with all of the EMF and radio waves and things that are going on, Wi-Fi, things like that that's happening, the dimensions, the veil as they call it. That
mhm.
sounds very theatrical, but
Yeah.
between the veils are getting more thin.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the stone tape theory, that leads right into psychometry, which is basically
Yep.
leaving traces of energy, like a
Mm-hmm.
place memory. And so, that's my specialty. And, I it's been around. I think the first time I read about that was in the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me answer Michael's question real quick. He
Oh,
asked,
good. I don't see it. Let me get over
uh,
here to it.
he asked, if somebody, is it okay for somebody to hold their family members' ashes, and does it hold their spirit back? Well, let me tell you a little secret. It doesn't matter if that body is an ash or if it's a body. The spirit the energy of that person has already left, and there's still traces of that person on those ashes and that body,
Yes.
because
Yes.
we leave an imprint on everything we touch, including ourselves. So yeah, the ashes aren't holding anything back, and it's perfectly fine. I have my dad's ashes in my living room right now. I have 2 of my dog's ashes in there in nice little urns.
This
So
is my
yeah,
grandmother's ashes. I
oh,
can't believe that, Robert, that you actually asked that question, because that was my next question for the group here. I had something happen in an investigation, and I need to talk about it, and I don't mind talking about it on here. I'm just going to, yes, I know my glasses are goofy, and it's hard for me to have a serious conversation with these goofy glasses on, but it's the
I love
style.
those
All these
glasses.
women love the goofy
Come on,
glasses.
they look good.
Thank
I
you. I
told
look
you
like I
that.
belong at Hogwarts or something.
Hey, it
But
don't matter. I told you the queen of the nerds, so might as well have some cool
that's
nerdy
it. That
glasses to go
that
with it.
works for me. That definitely works for me.
Throw some tape on there. You'll be all set.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. So, Gwen Johns, who's watching, she's one of my students, and she was sitting beside me at the Gilded Bat, and we were in my room on the bed, investigating that room, along with several other people. And I did the medicine wheel ceremony that I do, that's shamanic, and but I used um, um, Fetters, Candace and Derek Fetters. They do cocoa bean creations. They were at the event where I met you in Massachusetts.
Yep.
He had the Metatron symbols and all of that in the
Oh yeah, the archangel stuff.
yeah.
So
So I was using that inside of my medicine wheel
really,
because it has lights in it, and I put my crystals on it.
hmm
And I was praying through the angels of thrones, and I messaged Blaine right away. We had all these card readings going on. A friend of mine, her name is sorry guys. She blew my mind. Hold on. We were sitting on the bed. It came through a bunch of messages from angels with the angels cards. We weren't doing they were actually happening in another room of the house. My friend Zella Tarot,
There,
she does a lot of wonderful. I she's a New Orleans spiritualist, okay, and she is an advisor. She doesn't just do readings. Her readings they tune in not just to what you're going through, but what's going to happen to you in 2 days,
Mm.
maybe tomorrow. And she was so right on with me when it happened. I was prepared, and I was just like, not a problem. I saw that, she told me this was going to happen, and it did. And we were right on it. We were very diligent with it. And it was just perfect. I called her and was like, I cannot believe you got that right. But she really is a lovely, lovely person. But she was getting all these angel cards and the whole night. And we were being told on our different spirit boxes that there were angels there, and they said that they were guardians and they were called to be there. And then a voice came through that said, "My ashes are here. My ashes are
Mhm.
here." Said it twice. And it's Mama Jenny, is that you? And when I heard her voice say hello, I knew it was her.
mm-hmm.
And I could feel her. I actually smelled her perfume. And that's about it. So anybody else that was there wouldn't have had the experience I did, obviously. But I don't know. It really shook me that I missed her. Uh, wow. I mean, I didn't expect it to be such a powerful medicine wheel session that it would go through and affect ripples in time and dimensions the way that it did, to where I would have a moment like that.
Yeah,
I'm
it is incredible when things like that happen. We go, we're the principal of the investigation, and then we get a profound thing to happen. But that's the thing is about doing these events. The events are not for a group experience, it's for each person there's personal experience and what
Yes,
happens.
yes, yes.
Because I
That is
tell people
so
all the
well
time,
put.
yeah, I tell people all the time when I give speeches, I'm going to tell you about my experiences. I don't expect you to believe them because this is what happened to me. But
Right.
hopefully, what I tell you tonight touches you to research and look into things a little bit more and have that education with that experience.
That's
Exactly.
where I am with
Hmm.
it. But the whole point is that Michael was just asking about the ashes, and then I had that experience about ashes, and I mean, it took me a couple of days. I felt like I was asking myself, did I do this? Do I wear these ashes the way that I do in hopes that I can tether to her? I mean, what are my intentions? Um, and I had to really break it down to make sure I know what I've said over the past year, but really, is that what I meant? Am I doing the right thing? And Mama Jenny loved me. She knows that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to, do the best you can. And it just I wish she wasn't gone. I wish that things
Yeah.
were different. And the way that she used to talk to me and the way that I hear from her now is different. And it scares me because I'm afraid one day I just won't hear from her at all.
Don't worry about that. She's not going nowhere.
She's a force.
She-
That's for
Mama
sure.
Jenny, Mama Jenny is not going anywhere, and
Yeah.
she just told me right out blank. Says, get that out of her head. Says, you know better, Lee. Mama
Yeah.
Jenny ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So Michael says that he has his ex-girlfriend's ashes.
Hmm.
She passed away 2
Well,
years
she's
ago.
smiling at you right now. So
Oh, good.
Mm.
Thank you. So Michael's just explaining that he hasn't had any kind of acknowledgement whether or not his ex-girlfriend's around him because he has some of her ashes. So I don't know if
now
he's got all of the ashes or
yeah, and all her energy can go wherever she wants to go. If she wants to be
Yeah.
around you, she will be.
Hmm.
And she doesn't even have to let you know she's there, but it's there for her just to check on you. And she's doing what she has to do. Now, if she wants to show yourself or reveal herself to you, she will do that.
I'm sorry I got all emotional, y'all.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's okay. I
Mama
really look
Judy,
at it this way. Sorry about that. But ashes and all that, we have to understand when you have your first death is when your spirit, your soul leaves your shell. Your
mm-hmm,
shell is what becomes the ashes. All right.
yep,
So your soul, your spirit has free will to do what it wants, but your ashes are there, whether it wants to visit back with your ashes, be with you, anything like that. But yeah, it's ashes to ashes. It's biblical.
yeah,
It's what we leave behind, but we really
It is.
don't.
It is natural.
You
You're right. I
yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
whether
yeah,
I had buried her or put her in a mausoleum or she was cremated, I mean, it's
yeah.
part of life.
It's
yep,
our remembrance. We have
yep,
them there to keep to our heart. It's our remembrance. It's totally different thing. That remembrance of when
sure.
she was physical to the point now she's your spirit. She's with you
She
all the
is.
time.
And that's what's so
Yeah.
cool. It's like they never really leave us, just that
No.
physical body. I mean, shoot, I talk to Lee's family as much as I talk to mine. Lee talks to my family as much as I
Hmm.
talk to them. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a great time. Well,
Well,
I'm
that's what
glad you
happens
came on.
sometimes because you're not, your own family. Sometimes you're clouded by that, and sometimes a
That's
really
it.
good friend like you
exactly.
guys are able to keep that connection going for each other.
Oh,
So that's fantastic.
I'll get it together in a minute.
yeah,
Oh, you're good.
hey, I
We'll
remember the
we'll
first.
we'll keep you going. We'll keep talking,
Hey,
and then we'll let
I,
you get back together.
God.
the first time I met Mama Jenny, she was sitting in the kitchen with Mama Judy, and I walked in, and her grandma Jenny was like, "Ooh, who's this tall, handsome young man? I'm keeping him." I'm like, "You have
Yes.
him."
She called me in there. Now, I don't know
Yep.
if I told you this, but she called me in the kitchen. Lee. And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, there's something special about that man. I said, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, I know. And she said, I'm keeping him.
Yep, and she has.
Yeah.
The day that day before Mama Jenny died, she told me she said she could hear her brothers playing in the hallway. She lost three
Yeah.
brothers,
Hmm.
and they had come for her. She
Yeah.
always thought that it would be Leon, her husband, but it wasn't. It was her brothers, and she said she was ready to go with them. And I've had dreams of her walking with them and watching them together, and the smile on her face
Yeah.
was just so beautiful. So I know
Mhm.
there's a lot of really wonderful things happening. So I'll be glad when, of course, I'm not rushing it, but when I get to reunite with everybody too,
Yeah.
because I'd love to see what she's up to now, because I know she's up to something.
Yeah, they're like I said, they're always around us, and I think the best way that that's been proven, whether it be psychically or anything like that, but I've interviewed a lot of hospice nurses and all that, and just like you just said, most of the people that are in that transition, they always see a loved one just waiting for them. I see so and so that's passed earlier, waiting for them, giving them comfort to give them and guide them through that transition. So
Yeah.
That's right.
it's an incredible thing. Um, Whether you believe it or not, I know some people are skeptical, but you get hundreds of hospice nurses telling you the same thing, there's got to be
Yeah.
some truth to it. So,
Oh, dude, and I believe it too, because my aunt is a hospice nurse, and she says, Blaine,
mhm,
he says, I've seen more spirits right before people pass. He said the energy in there gets all positive. There's
mhm,
lights everywhere, and all of a sudden I start seeing these beings, and the person that's passing sees them too, and it's like it's a relief that hey, I see somebody I know. Okay, maybe it's time for me to let go and go to the other side. And
mhm.
she's had them where the spirit after lifted out of the body and turned down and said, "Thank you for caring for me." And then poof, they were gone. I was like, "That's badass."
Yeah, yeah. That's what happened when my father died. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to be there when my mother died. She died suddenly, so I wasn't around. But I got to be there to hold my father's hand when he died. And me being sensitive, I felt his spirit come right
Mm-hmm.
through me. And then I knew he
Oh,
was dead. I knew that his soul left. And then I told my sister, Dad died. And she's, no, he's still breathing. No, I said, he passed. His soul like went right through
Yeah,
me. It was an incredible feeling.
yeah.
Um, and I appreciate that, but just, sometimes watching the suffering, just us as human beings is tough.
And, and I
But
didn't.
knowing
yeah,
that
too
they're all
much.
good now
Yeah,
is
I
for
didn't
me
get
is
to see
good.
my dad actually pass. I
Yeah.
wasn't there because he lived longer than they told us he was, which I was glad
hmm
of. I saw my dad 10 minutes before my mom
Hey,
called me.
Lauren.
Hey,
Hey, Lauren.
Lauren.
But yeah, I saw my dad. He came to me 10 minutes before my mom called me, and
Isn't
he
that
showed up.
something?
Yeah, and I'm like, when she called, I said, "Dad's okay." And she says, well, "How do you know Dad's okay?" I said, "Dad's okay." I didn't want to go around and look. I just talked to him 10 minutes ago, but I know he's not in that body no more, and he
hmm
is happy. Now
Yeah.
my dad's a trip though, because 2 days later he come back and he says, "Where's all this family I'm supposed to see?" I said, "Dad, what are you seeing?" He said, "All I see is these lights." I said, "Dad, there's your family. Go to them."
Yeah.
And I hear my dad. My dad was like, "That's bullshit." You know, so I know it's my dad. And then I
Yep.
see him pop back in. He goes, "Okay, that was my family." I was like,
Yeah.
"You're stubborn in death is like you were in life, old man."
Yep. Oh my
So,
God.
one of my students has asked a question. He wants to know, um, well, he was asking, is it possible? But I think he was trying to ask, how do you go about if you have more than one psychic ability? How do you use one and block the other? How do you balance that so
You
that
don't want to block any of them.
Mm-mm.
right?
No, they're there
It's
for a reason. That's what me and Lee called them upgrades, because
yes,
you could like I get new upgrades, and I've been an empath medium shaman for 54 years, 58 years already,
Mhm.
and I still get new gifts. So yeah, don't block off one to use other. That's what they're there for. Use your gifts
Yeah.
in continuation with each other.
yes,
Yeah.
because you might pick up something that you didn't expect to pick up, and you're going to wonder what in the world.
Yeah.
And and then whenever you say it, like Blaine with marshmallows, what in the world? And then it turns out that was important.
It is.
So
It's always important because you got to realize it's just like paranormal investigating. We have to determine, okay, I'm in a situation, the client told me this, I have to maybe use this type of method in this room to try and pick up, what's going on in here. But as a
Mm-hmm.
psychic, you're picking up different things. You might have to use a certain method to be able to interact, whether it be the smell, the sound, the feeling, or anything like that. For me, I'm an empath, but I don't have like that psychic thing. Sometimes it comes in and out. Sometimes I still got to practice it more. But I do get a lot of smells to the point where
Yeah.
I know my loved ones are around.
Yes.
I know
Some
when
of the
my
best smells.
grandparents come to me, I could smell my grandparents' house. And then
Oh.
my mom's mom used to smoke, and after she'd smoke, before she'd come in the house, she would have a lifesaver, and I could smell that mint and that smoke. I know she was there. But
Yeah.
probably the craziest thing that ever happened is after my mom died. I think it was on like almost the anniversary, and my father had passed since. And it's almost like you always want to know if they're okay. And when we were younger, I go to my grandmother's house and we'd be in the bathtub, and she always had the ivory soap that would float. And I
Oh,
had that,
yeah.
there was
Yes.
always that smell of ivory soap, and I have no ivory
Yep.
soap in my house. And it was like the anniversary of my mom passing away, and I smelt ivory soap. It was almost like my grandmother wanted to tell me that everything was clean and good and that
Yes.
everybody was together. And that's the message I received.
That's awesome, dude. That is
Yeah.
so awesome.
hmm
Especially, I
How
love
you
the smell.
interpret it. Yeah.
Dude, and that's perfect interpretation. Is because I remember my grandma used ivory. It's like you wouldn't clean unless you used ivory.
Oh,
If
heck
you
yeah.
used pine tar, your house wasn't clean.
Yep.
Ivory is actually really good to use for like if you've got a lot of toxins on your skin, like
Mhm.
Yeah.
poison ivy or things
Yep.
like that. Ivory is the one to use, and
Yep.
it could be that she's letting you know, hey, I'm taking care of you. I got you. I'm taking
Yeah.
care
Mhm.
of you. I love you.
Yeah.
And the
You know.
best too is
Exactly.
when it's like one of Jennifer's grandparents baked a lot, and when she comes to visit, dude, I smell like the fresh cakes, the fresh brownies.
Oh
It's
God, yeah.
it's like it's so heavenly. It's like, oh, I
Mm.
want chocolate cake now, or
Oh, that's just so great. Those are such
the-
good things, and it's
oh
they're around and they bring back those
yeah,
memories. I talk about time travel. Um,
yeah,
Time travel happens all the time, and we don't
yeah.
realize it's happening. When
Hmm.
you could go back to a memory, or something comes through and gives you that memory, you think about it, that good memory, it brings back a good memory of them, and it takes away the hurt.
Yeah, it does.
It's like it changes your reality now by going back to a great memory.
And that's perfect too. It's like, okay, I remember like going to my grandma's house and smelling those smells of stuff
Mm,
she was cooking, or it brings you back to like, okay, I was 5 years old. We had this, and this to eat.
yeah,
They talked about this. It's amazing how much stuff you remember just by a certain smell. I mean, you can tell
yeah.
I could tell you what people were talking about at the table.
hmm
I could tell you, you know, what kind of food was on the table because I could smell it like I was sitting right there with it. It's like, oh my God. And hi, David. David's one of our buddies.
Nice.
At
Hi, David. Oh, that's.
yeah, the
I just
smell.
love that stuff.
When
Yeah,
you
Oh,
when
you
yeah.
can't get better than that. It is. It's that memory time travel. It
yeah,
heals you. It heals you when you're having a bad day,
no,
and you could go back and a smell hits you all of a sudden. Again, no
food,
coincidence. You're having a bad day. Those family members give you
food.
that smell and it brings you back, and it heals you. That time
Oh my
travel, it
God.
heals you.
My grandfather, my dad's father,
Yep.
he comes in, dude. I could smell the aquavelva. And it's just
Oh yeah.
like it smells just like you're sniffing it right out the
hmm
bottle today. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, Papa Rowan's here.
Yes.
Yep. It's amazing.
I'm actually looking something up on my phone to show you. There is I'm a Reiki practitioner,
hmm
and there's several symbols that are used. Of course, you don't have to use a symbol. You can just use the intention and go with it. Um, there it is right there. Come on. There we go.
I'm a
That's the
big
method.
intention guy, just so you guys know.
Me
I
too.
love it.
I'm all
Yeah.
about intention. That's probably one of my
Dude.
biggest things I tell people when they get into the
Yes.
paranormal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I swear to God, we're born from the same people because
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
we are.
we got a lot of stuff that we do together the same, dude. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yes, we do.
Well, I'm attached to you guys. When I first talked to you, like when I talked to Lee, I felt
Yeah,
like we knew each other from before. You get that sometimes
We
with some
have.
people.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I could actually tell you we went back at least 12 lives together.
Yeah.
Me, you, and Lee and Matt.
Yep. Oh
so
yeah.
this is an idea of what Reiki is, that you have the ability not only to have control over the energy that flows through you. Your aura goes way past where
hmm
your skin stops. Where is your soul within your body? It's not a little dot here in your chest. It goes way out past you. Reiki is actually flowing energy from Creator through your body,
Mm-hmm.
where you can actually do healings. You can
hmm
read energy, and that's what I do with psychometry.
Well, that's
But
what
there,
saved me, just so you know. I really, growing up, didn't know what empath meant. I didn't even know what it was. I would feel angry at times just
Yep.
for the energy in the room. I didn't know what it meant. I thought I was going
Yep.
crazy. And I
Yep.
don't know if you guys know my history. When I was 17, I met Ed and Lorraine Warren out of luck. And I was at a show, and I think Lorraine picked up my aura or my energy because after when we did the meet and greet, she like came right up to me, skipped everybody, just came right up to me
Yeah.
and just said, you've been having problems. And then we had that friendship after. And I know a lot of people think
yeah,
whatever they think of the Warrens, whatever they want to think. She saved me,
Right
and
on.
helped me realize who I was and
Yeah.
how to develop it and do something for good and not let it get away from me. So, yeah,
Yeah. That's
that's
awesome, dude.
wonderful. Well, good for you. I had no
yeah,
idea it was a connection to the Warrens, but
yeah,
Yeah. And it's funny,
I
dude. The first time I met Lorraine, Ed had already died. And
yeah.
she hugged me, and the same thing that Angela Perrin did. She
hmm
hugged me and backed off. Just, oh my God! I said, "What's
Yeah.
wrong?" I said, "I stink. Doesn't need a shower." I'm thinking something bad. She says, "Oh my God! If you know how much energy you got coming off of you," I said, "Yeah, sorta."
hmm
She says, "You are just lit up like a Christmas tree." I'm like, "Oh, cool,
Yeah.
thanks."
I was standing there. It was a really great moment. This symbol is called Hansei Shonen,
I should take that
and
down.
this means that your intention is to heal across time and space and distance.
Mhm.
hmm
And this is an example of your aura and how it all works together. So I
It's
just
funny. I
wanted to
got
share
asked
that
that
too.
question. It was on Facebook, and a friend of mine from Australia asked the question, if a spirit reached out to you for help, would you help it?
That was good. Thank you.
Always.
And I said, yeah, without fail.
Mhm.
It's like it wouldn't even be a second guess. And that's just
No.
with anybody, even
Yeah.
if the living had a problem or the spirit had a problem, I'm there.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We have to help people understand what we have experience with, and we educate people, help them understand it, take the fear away. So,
Yeah, and
that's
that's
kind of
my
what it
whole
is.
goal is to help as
Yeah,
many people that are alive as well
yeah.
as that are spirits to help them help themselves, you know?
hmm Yeah. Yeah, you can't be there all the time for everybody. So if you educate them, take the fear away and let them know, hey, if this happens again, try this and try that, and I'm always going to be there for you.
Well, see,
So
that's one of the
that's
things
what
we
it
do
is.
too, especially like
hmm
our children that have special gifts.
Yeah.
I'll tell them, look, embrace your gift. It was given to us for a reason that we don't know. We didn't ask for it, but gladly take your gift, good, bad, or indifferent. There's nothing to be afraid about because people like us are very protected, and embrace your gifts and have your parents help embrace your gifts as
hmm
well. Once you get your parents on your side,
Yeah.
because we deal with that a lot, me and Lee do. So, and if it works for children, it'll work with adults too. So,
Yeah, that's a lot what I deal on the psychological level, especially when I do a home case and there's kids involved and all that. So it's just a different way to approach it and all that because they see things, of course, more than maybe the adults in
oh
the
yeah,
house. And so
well,
Yeah.
it's a
the
little different
children,
approach.
the children are the first ones I ever talk to. If there's children
hmm
involved, I'll
Oh
sit
yeah,
down with the children. I'll get on the ground, sit at their level,
yeah,
let them come to me, and I'll say, what did you see? Or what did you hear?
yeah,
And I said, you don't have to be afraid of me. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm very gentle.
yeah.
And then usually they're spilling like where their mama's jewelry is, like, and then I get a better understanding what they're seeing and what they're experiencing. Because, like you said, the parents might not experience some of this stuff that the children are seeing because they're more still in tuned because they haven't put that block on yet that this is wrong, you can't do this, blah blah blah, like the adults have.
Yeah, because it's not like it was way back when kids would see things, and God forbid, some of these parents would put their kids in the institutions thinking they were
Yes.
crazy, but
Yes.
it's that time, like I said, they're open to this stuff between that age of 1 and 7, and some of
Yes.
them maintain that afterwards, even when critical thinking kicks in. They're not crazy. That's the thing, is we really have to talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes there's cases that the kids have to be checked out, but a lot of times if you do your due diligence with some of these cases and all that, yeah, the kids aren't crazy. They're seeing stuff. And you verify it, it makes them feel better, and it gives them the strength to go on and
Yeah.
embrace it and all that, and not be afraid of it.
And plus, too, since we're empaths, we can feel their
Mhm.
energies, whether they're happy, sad, mad. We can pick a liar out real fast.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, that energy just comes out strong. So
Yeah.
most time your children, they're not going to lie about stuff like this because they're innocent. So they don't like, I don't want to make this up because I'll get in trouble for making stuff up. So, but most of them will tell you the honest to God's truth. You can tell, and I'll tell them just like, "Are you sure that's what happened?" As I can
Yeah.
tell they're trying to lie to me, but I'll do it so gentle. They're like, "Oh, okay. Well, it happened like this then." Then I know they're telling me the truth.
Yeah. It's hard sometimes because I deal with a lot of cases where there's a lot of darkness with it.
Yes.
There's abuse going on and all that. God forbid there is abuse going on, and that's the other thing that might come out. And that's when it comes a dangerous situation. I firmly believe that our traumas and all that sometimes can manifest, some of these crazier dark cases and all that. And
Well, yeah, I agree.
so you have to take care of the mind, with the living and the dead and all that, and how it's intertwining. Because there's always the thing with, hauntings and all that. I tell people there's like houses that have been notoriously haunted. The family that's living there, it's almost like they manifest that and create that in the house. But when they leave and somebody else comes in, the energy's different. It's almost like the energy that's there. It's like you go into a place, you meet somebody. Sometimes you meet people you don't like, and sometimes you meet people you really get along with, like we're getting along with. But there might be, I've been on some stuff where I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go back on that show, but it's that's the way the spirits are with us. If I move into a house, and I'm going to tell you a funny story. It's not really funny. It actually got pretty serious, but I did a case it was called The Murder House. And I think I might've told you about this one, Lee. And the people, we helped them clear the house and all that. A year later, they wanted to sell the house. And so they finally were trying to sell the house. And I think the spirit was mad that they were going to be leaving, because they had called us later and said, well, the realtor brought some people in and down into the basement. And as they were in the basement, a disembodied voice said, "Get the F out."
Ooh.
Over and over again. They went running up the stairs. The spirit said, "You're going to trip up the stairs." The guy fell up the stairs. Needless to say, they didn't buy the house.
Of course not.
But yet the realtor had the cojones to go back in with a different people, and the other people bought the house. Because I think the spirit knew that I don't get along with these people. I don't want them here, so I'm going to act up.
And there's nothing wrong with that. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, because he's probably was an energy person himself when he was alive. Now he picks up those people. It's like, no, I don't like them. They might be criminals, or they might be pedophiles. They might be rapists. Murderers, serial killers. I don't want them in my house. And I've probably done the same thing.
Yeah.
Now we've had a case recently where there was a spirit attached to the person, and they were actually trying to help that person, but they didn't want him in the house because the spirit with them was the problem.
Yeah.
And he's a police officer and been working a case, and then this thing came up. So it was a convoluted mess, but we got it worked out. But woof.
It's hard. It's like that onion when you're peeling those layers back, the history, what's going on with the people, all the different things. People got to remember when you do like a home case, it isn't like what you see on TV. It's not simple. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of layers to peel back to get the actual story. Sometimes some of the people you do your interviews with or you do your questionnaire with, they're not always upfront with you, and it is important to have, like you said, that ability to be able to know when somebody's BSing you and all that. And you need to ask those questions, and you have to ask the right questions to get the right answers and to be able to help.
I think that
People
was
ask
the
you to come help. You got to be able to help, answer the
Yeah.
yeah,
questions.
that was one
Yeah.
of the things that I was, gonna that's what I meant when we first started, when I said, "Hey, can you hop on?"
Yeah.
Because, I was trying to figure out the right words for certain psychics to use,
Hmm.
because, when you go to events and you're investigating with different people and you've got a different ability than the people around you, you don't want to step on something somebody else is doing.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, how you're able to get around that.
I think really how I get around that is, I keep things small. The person that I've worked with is we game plan before we go in. We have what they're saying is going on. All right. We do we do the history and all that. I really don't tell her, certain things because I want her to be able to pick up what might be going on. But, the questions that are asked, again, I worked with a psychotherapist, so she's going to ask
Right.
those types of questions. Me, I worked at a psychiatric prison. That was a lot of I had to interrogate people to get things. It's two totally different things, but yet the same, and all how you
Oh, yeah,
question.
to get
So
to the truth.
yeah,
Different
and it
techniques, but
yeah.
sometimes the same,
But I
The
have watched
intention's all that's
other
different, right?
Yeah, I've watched other investigators, and sometimes you got to be careful. It you don't want to come off as confrontational because people will shut down on you.
They will shut down
Um,
Yep.
on you.
you got to keep
So,
it like we're talking now. As we're talking, I will talk about things, happy things, and all that. And sometimes you have to sneak things in there to get
yeah, I've
the
noticed
answers
that.
that you need. You have to come up with a script
Now see,
for the situation. If you don't do that, you're not going to get the right
Yep.
answers to
all
get to
right,
the bottom of the case.
Andy, Gwen, I hope that you heard what he said. This is what we were talking about in class about 2 weeks ago when we were talking about how psychics work with other people,
Mhm.
having that intuition to lead by questions as opposed to just giving up information. It helps spirits be able to, you're taking their energy with you. Like I
Hmm.
was just explaining the stone tape theory, they're able to express themselves by the questions you ask. You're giving information, but it's not quite the same thing, you
Yeah, the
know,
best way to call it is it's a method called continuity of thought.
continuity of
So
thought. I
when
like that.
they give you an answer, you take that answer to create another question.
That's it.
You're leading them to the point to get the answer that you think in your ability to answer that ability that you have, that intuition, and you're leading them that way without them even knowing it, but they're consciously giving you, the
Right.
clues that you
Yep.
need.
All
So,
right. We do have a question in the chat. David Baird says, his question is, I've always wondered, what is purgatory? Could y'all explain it, please? Now, I'm going to start it, and, we always finish each other's sentences. So we'll get this. Purgatory is not a place, it's a dimension, just like hell and heaven. And even there's one that runs backwards that scientists have discovered. In purgatory, basically, it's a holding pattern. Some people can put themselves there. Um, sometimes that's the like energy goes with the location that their energy is like, and if they're in a situation where that is where their energy is, that's where they're going to go. And purgatory is not meant to be. I can see that it would be a hell, but for the most part, it's a place where you go to sort things out.
mhm.
Blaine and I actually had a case we were doing an investigation in Alabama, and there was a guy, and he was going. We thought it was a residual haunting at first, it was just kind of sorting along, doing its thing. And then the next thing I knew, my son was able to talk to the guy because he could see him with his eyes. And we need to talk about that because Michael's got a question about animals and children also that are able to see, and I'll explain that. But his wife and children were killed at the factory where he worked. The whole family was supporting the place, and they brought the family by on a cart on the way to the infirmary, and he looked over and there's his family on the cart, and I don't know, I think he lost his mind at that moment. And it felt like purgatory because he was still at work and his family was still alive and they were all together. But I think that was just like, he may have even just lost his soul at that point, like his energy, he died, you know, he just checked out, he couldn't do it anymore. I don't know if he lost his mind at that moment. I feel like he did continue to live, but not for long. Because he even said that Elijah looked like one of his children, and then he went right back to work, and Blaine was having to explain to Elijah, Elijah was, we were at an event, and it was during the day, and we were looking at a train, and it wasn't meant to be like an investigation. Although, what do you do with a child that can see spirits? You're walking down the road, walking down the street on your way into the Walmart, thingy, and he can see a spirit out front. I have to address this with him because he can see them all the time. So people that say you shouldn't let your children investigate, I understand where they're coming from, but there's circumstances where you don't have a choice. Because
No.
this was his life. This was, his life was an investigation, and I had to help him learn how to manage it. So, kind of like a child that's being raised in a war zone. You teach them how to shoot a gun. You teach them what it does. You don't try to keep them from them because the chances are they're going to need it. So, I get a little defensive when I talk about that because, people do sell children short. But purgatory to me felt like that. It felt like it was, he could come in, and that's where most people, I think, are, when you cross them over, when a psychic goes in and they're saying, I'm going to cross them over. I feel like that's where they're going from one dimension to a much happier place because their energy has changed, and now they're able to change. It's sort of like when Blaine, those of you watch regularly, we talk about leveling up, getting an upgrade on your psychic powers. Well, it happens in death too. And as your energy changes and you evolve to the next level, you go to the next dimension. And it's a beautiful thing. And, I'm happy to be used by the Great Spirit to be able to help people in any stage of life, including death.
And see, a lot of people don't understand when they go do these next levels, they can come back to any level they want to, except to the body they came out of. That's the only place they can't go back
there. Right. But they do like to hang around there because that's the one place that doesn't change. Everything else around them is changing, looking, but their body is the same. So they'll like to go back and kind of, wow, that's my body there. So also, Michael has come back and asked about animals that can see, like cats or dogs. He's seen people investigate with pets. I do have an animal that can see spirits, maybe two that can, because the more that Ginger is around Luna, the more she's able to do that. But I did have a very bad experience doing an investigation at someone's house, and there was a very negative entity that had been invited there, and the dog his leg broke in front of me. I heard this cracking sound, and I was like, what was that? Did you just break your toe or something? I looked down, and the dog's arm was all bent up, and he was trying to walk, and I was like, holy crap, this just happened in front of us. So I worry about, and I've also seen a cat that was nearly possessed, and that's a very bad case that I did. So it worries me about animals being in investigations. But again, what do you do? If they live in a house that's haunted, what do you do?
Yep.
But animals are very intuitive. I have two cats, and it's funny because we'll be sitting there and I'll feel an energy, and as I turn around, there's my cat staring at the same spot.
Every time. My dogs do that all the time.
Yeah.
my dog can see a spirit that's in the hall, but where he wears Aqua Velva or
Yeah.
Old Spice. It's old stuff.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out that children can children can see in full spectrum, and
Yes.
their corneas don't harden until what they're 12 or so.
Hmm.
So that's another reason.
Yeah, it's another big thing. Like I was talking about before, that theta from 1 to 7, critical thinking starts kicking in then. And yeah, the way your eyes see, the way your brain is that opposite and how things pick up. There is a science behind it. A lot of people think, well, psychics and all that. There is a science behind being psychic and all. And everybody
Okay,
has it again. So,
well, go ahead and run us through it. We got 45 minutes before the show's out. What you think?
yeah. For like I was talking about before, is when you're in that theta wave, those waves, like when we're in a dream, that dream state is when we pick up things when we're the most open. So when we do go to sleep and we dream, we might have that vivid dream,
Yeah.
even if we're not psychic, but it's there. It doesn't leave. It's scientifically there. It's been done. They've done brainwave tests. They've done all kinds of different types of tests, parapsychology, and all those things where there is data on it, and it there is truth to it.
Hmm.
And again, everybody has different levels of it.
Yep.
Well, there is the word clairvoyant is actually
Hmm.
French. The word clair means clear in French,
Yep.
Yep.
and then voyance is vision.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that means that you can have a clear vision, and it can mean literally that you can clearly see.
Yeah.
It means seeing would be with your eyes or
Yep.
with your mind's
Hmm.
eye, or it can mean that you get a clear message. But
Yeah.
clairvoyance is an obscure term, but it means the same thing, but it can just be used in different ways.
Yep.
We've been working on that in class about definitions because they do get all muddled up sometime in there.
Yeah,
Um,
all these differences and all that. But one thing is scientifically, if it's proven that I think our brains, we only use about 15% of our brain capacity as human beings and all that. So
right, and
what's all that other stuff doing? How are we tapping in?
yeah,
And
That's what
that's
I
the
what
want
thing
to
that
ask.
that's where these brain waves come in and how they do what they do, and I think that's a lot of people like yourself that are more challenging parts of your brain that most people don't use that are dormant. Like I said, everybody has it. You're reawakening
right.
it. And I've interviewed a lot of people that realize their psychic abilities, whether it kept it from youth, but some people reawaken it because they had a near death experience or
Hmm.
some type of major trauma that's reawakened that psychic ability to go towards it.
Well, that's interesting. Does anybody else have any questions? Because we've been talking about a lot of terms. We've been talking about different ways of investigating with clairvoyance or people that are psychic.
Yep.
I just got a message from Christopher, who's usually on the show with us. He was in the hospital for some testing today,
Oh,
and he's finally back home.
healing
Good.
sent, brother.
And yeah, he's doing good. He said that he got good news, but he's worn out, so
Mm,
Cool.
that's why he's not on the show.
Yeah, David, I told you about this before. The reason you're seeing your parents in dreams, because that's how they come to you,
mhm.
and that's giving you, and it makes you feel close to them, and that's what it's supposed to be for, brother.
Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate you praying for Christopher. We really love having him on the show. He runs chat room a lot of times for us. He's a great researcher. So I like having him on. Sometimes he just likes being a part of it.
Yep.
Um, so David's been dreaming about his brother all last week. David, your brother's with you all the time. That was another kind of I call it a praise report.
Yeah.
David is a student, and
Mhm.
he's lost his parents as well as his brother. And we were in class, and he was able to figure out that his brother was with him.
Mhm.
And so when he watches the show, his brother's there with him. Monday night's a big deal over at his house. And he'll make himself dinner and sit there with his brother because he has his K2 on, and it's
Perfect.
and his cat
Yeah, it's
balls.
working. Yeah,
So let
cat
me
balls
just
and everything.
tell David. Let me tell David.
David, are you listening? Please be listening.
So when you have those dreams, those vivid dreams, I just have a suggestion. Just keep a pen and paper by your bed. So when you wake up, write about what happens,
Dream
because
journal. Yes.
they're telling you something. They're still guiding you. They're still there for you. They still love you and all that. And sometimes that's how they're trying to give you the messages in your dream. Because I know when we wake up, sometimes if we don't write it down quick enough, it could leave us. We know they were there, but we miss the message. So make sure
Dude,
you
that
do
was
that.
perfect, because that's what I tell everybody. Keep a dream journal, especially when they're
Mhm.
talking to you. You'd be surprised. I mean, you might not understand what's going on at the time, but you'll get
Yep.
a piece of it here, a piece of it there, a piece of it there.
Oh yeah,
And then you
it
start
could be
reading.
something that they're telling you that's about to happen.
Yeah.
You know, they're helping you. They when you die, I firmly believe that us now, we look at our watches all the time. Hey, what time is it? What time is it? I think in the spirit realm there is no time. You know,
Right.
they don't look at watches and all that. And sometimes they're giving a message that may not happen right away, but it's
Exactly.
there to be
Yeah.
aware of it. And that's why you got to write these things down.
Yeah.
And
Now,
David, I've been wanting to tell you something. Sorry, Blaine. I won't. This will only take a second. David, David Hembry. There's two Davids in the chat. I really feel like I need to tell you. I've been wanting to tell you this for some weeks. I feel like your dad's trying to apologize to you,
Mhm.
and I think you need to be aware of that. And I think your brother's there, kind of guiding him in. So maybe you need to have a sit down with your brother and find out if that's the case, and know that you're safe and everything's good. But see if what message there may be. Okay, if you need me, let me know.
yeah, all I was going to say was David Anthony Baird is actually one of my clients. We've done an investigation at his house twice.
Oh, well, yeah, we got a couple of Davids today.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. And I know Thomas was on the same kill as I was about doing the dream journal, and I was like, that's good, because I thought about it, but you got it out before I could get it out of my mouth. I'm like, that's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always messages that we miss sometimes if we're not quick on it. So, especially as you're developing.
So, yeah, Christopher's given me information now that he's been sick and he didn't tell us. So I know David Hembry. I know. It's okay. Just listen to what he's got to say. People are different. They do grow.
Yeah.
Okay. So David Hembry's letting me know that he and his brother used to work on model cars together. And so he's working on his model car and the cat ball's going off. So he knows his brother's there working
Nice.
on the car with him. So he's working on his car and watching the show.
Nice.
Well, yeah, what a great night, David. Thank you for telling us about that.
Yeah, really.
So tell us a little bit, Thomas, about the other project you're working with, a shaman.
Well, it's the shaman and the showman, and I work with a gentleman named Charles Rosenet. He's quite prolific in producing and putting on conferences, and he does these tours. He started out like with music and monsters, so he would do Beatle tours to Liverpool.
Okay.
He'd take people to Liverpool and England to go on Beatle tours. He's been doing that for 40 years. And the last 25 years, he does the Dracula tours, where he takes
Okay.
people to Transylvania, Romania,
Oh,
and
nice.
go in the footsteps of Bram Stoker's Dracula and Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Tepes. And they
Yes.
take you on these things. But he had met somebody before me who was his shaman, and they split. And he was in the middle of all these events, and he needed somebody to help. So he reached out to me, is when I met you. That it was around the
Okay.
time he reached out to me, around that time, at the same time. And I became his shaman, or his paranormal experienced person, to help him with these events. So we do the Connecticut Paracon, which was the first
Okay.
Paracon, and then we also do the Salem Paracon. And then we do a lot of events where we'll go to historic places and have people come with us to go on an adventure where I'm able to teach them about the paranormal, anybody that's new to it or has been around, to give them other ways on how to do things and how to approach things like we talked about
Right
tonight.
on.
And then we do psychic fairs where we have 20, 25 psychics at a time. and people come in and they walk around, and if they feel the energy from one person, they sit down with them and get their
Yeah.
reading, whether it be tarot cards or psychic or mediumship, whatever they're looking for. So it's quite a thing that we do, and we go all out, and I'm so busy with it now and all, and doing my own thing
Right.
and doing that. And I have a couple events coming up outside the shaman and the showman. I'll be up at the Wilson Castle in September. I'll be at the USS Salem doing some adventures with Third Eye.
Hmm.
Larissa. So I'm going to
Yes.
be doing some events with her. I actually, do you guys know Scott Allen, the Boston
Yes.
medium?
Yeah. See, I'm gonna be on the show
He's
next
been
month.
on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Scott and I went to Pennsylvania and filmed an episode of Dark Echoes,
I
which will
saw it.
be, yeah, it'll be season 2, episode 2. And so that's going to be exciting. So yeah, been a lot been going on, and I always appreciate it. I always appreciate you guys like having me on the show so we could talk about the paranormal. I always get so excited to talk about it and
Yes.
Me too.
give my experience and all that. Like I said, you don't have to believe everything I say, but hopefully sometimes the words I give you will help you with your own
Yeah.
experience. So,
Yeah,
Exactly,
it
yeah,
dude.
definitely helps.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Big
Well,
time.
we're all trying to wrap our mind around it, right, Blaine?
Oh God,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
the
help
cool thing.
others.
The cool thing is like what you're saying might resonate with just one person, but
That's
that's
all it
one more
takes.
person. That's it. And that's what's so beautiful about it. You might help that one person and you didn't realize you helped them. But
That's right.
it's your karma's gonna come back very strong for that.
Exactly. So it's with anything. It's not just paranormal. It's just in life.
Yeah,
You
thank
know,
you.
you could walk across the street. There's somebody kind of moping, and you wave at them and say, "Hey, good morning," and all that. And that good morning kept them from maybe doing something that could have
Exactly.
ended their life.
Yeah.
I
So you
know it.
never know. You
That
got to be
one
good to
kind
everybody.
that's that one kind gesture might have
Hmm.
made that whole person's life for that day. And all you did was just something that's naturally to us anyway.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, how you doing today? Hope you have a
Yeah.
great day. Walk off, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
So you never know what your words have power. So be
Oh yeah.
careful how you use them. So yep.
That is so true. The intention is so powerful too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, I like doing it. And it's funny because we live in the South, so it's like natural. You ride by somebody, you wave them, hey, how you
Yeah.
doing?
Hmm.
And if they don't wave back, they're looking at you. Usually know they're probably from up north. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're up here, it's I just driving to work, how just angry people are,
oh
I
my
could
God, dude.
I could
Yeah.
feel it in my drive.
Oh
Being an
yeah.
empath and driving in Connecticut is the worst thing that you could ever do.
And
You
you know
know,
what I
I
do? You know what
yeah,
I do?
yeah,
I play like your favorite music just to
yep,
drown out that energy
yeah.
and get that positive energy. Start singing at the top of your lungs in the car,
Oh
singing to your
God, yeah.
favorite songs,
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, I don't care if he's mad or not today. you know,
yeah. Well, good thing I was a professional singer for many years, so
right on, man.
Really? I
I,
didn't know that.
yeah, I
What did
did
you
that for
sing?
I was a country singer, so I wrote I used to write a lot. I was a demo singer for a little while and all that. I traveled back and forth down to Nashville. I still got a lot of friends down there,
Right
and
on.
yeah, so it was great because there was a TV show called Nashville Star
I
back
remember
when
that show.
yeah, it was a couple like maybe a year or two after like American Idol started. So they did their own country one, and I made it to the regional final, and the guy that beat me out was on the show. If I won, I would have been on the show, and that was the year that actually Miranda Lambert was on and went on to huge success, even though she didn't win. But
Yeah.
I sang for a while, even during COVID. Um, I'm sitting here at home, I don't have nothing to do. Some of my friends we were talking, and I was like, "Oh, we used to, you used to play for us all the time," and I'm like, "Well, let me just play a song a night on Facebook during COVID," and I did that, and
Right on, man.
I think I got up to like 100 songs in that time before I stopped doing it because things started getting better after then. But it made me get back into it, and I think it made me feel better. You never know when you do things. Uh, Getting back in touch with that was great, and being able to help my friends at home while they were going through all this lockdown was very healing for them and very much healing for me too. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
yeah,
That's music is like
yeah,
I tell people, look, when you meditate, don't go quiet because your brain
hmm
will mess you up. find your favorite music you like, listen to it, just get into the music, then everything else will come.
Exactly. I really believe that, being a songwriter, and I've talked about this before in some of my talks, is I firmly believe that sometimes our spirit guides give us the words to write a song,
They
Okay.
do.
or there might be a spirit that comes to you that didn't get that chance in life to get their story out, and they tell their story in music through
Yes.
you, and you channel that and you write the song. Because I've written songs, I was like, I don't know where that came from. I don't know why I wrote it that way. I don't know why the story is coming out this way. But I never, at the time when I started writing and knowing what I became at 17, when I realized it, I'm starting to think when I write a song, I was like, well, maybe it came from that. So I didn't second guess it anymore. So the
Shoot, dude,
That's
inspiration.
true.
And that's
Yeah.
perfect. If you get some else, especially another spirit that helps you write a song, because
Mhm.
it's like me and Lee have both written books, and
Yeah.
you get writer's block. And I can imagine if you're a singer trying to come up with lyrics that
Yeah.
that sound decent, that are going to sell records and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I think it's cool. It's like one of my good friends, Jody Messina. She's a country artist,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. She's great.
I've known Jody since before she got her record deal. She
Yeah.
did she worked at a lot of she came and sang a lot of basses at
Yeah.
one time, and before she got signed. So I met her, and she actually called me the day she got signed, and I said, Jody, what's going on? She says, I got signed, Blaine. I got signed. You told me I was going to get signed. I got signed.
Nice. She's great. She was actually born and raised up near me. She was from
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, she's from
and,
Massachusetts. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and another redhead, right
Yep.
at the time, these record labels wanted another like Reba McEntire looking type
Yep.
of person. But Jody she did such great stuff and all that. And,
Yeah.
I got a lot of friends from back in the day when I would go down to Nashville that I'm still friendly with. And I live vicariously through them. They,
Right
have
on,
their
man.
songs on the radio. And, one of the guys I met way back before he had his record deal. I don't know if you guys listen to country at all, but
I'm a big country fan. So
yeah, Chris Young. So I'm still
I
friends with his mom and all
I
that.
like Chris.
Oh,
So,
that's
Chris is
good.
yeah, his mom Becky Harris she's great. She's actually she like went back to school to manage him to help him get his deal. So she
Wow.
believed in him so much. It's good to have your parents believe in you.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he's
That's
he's
true.
such a good dude, and I remember back in the day, and I still have good memories of that time and all that, and it's special. So, and seeing
Yeah.
him do really good is great.
And I'll tell you what, I just found Jelly Roll.
I
That
Yeah.
love
guy,
him.
his songs are just they're
Yeah.
about life and about
Yeah.
having problems, and it's just the way he sings. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, he used to sing hard rap,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and now this. So,
It's
wow.
weird. It's weird how people get inspired to change that whole genre or anything like that. But if you
Yeah,
guys
he's
want to listen to something really good, and I don't know if you know who he is, but probably my favorite songwriter and singer now is Jason Isbell.
Jason
So
Isbell is good. He
that's
writes some
that's
very
real
good
right
songs.
there, man. That's
Yeah.
real right there. So
Yeah, that dude is so real.
yeah. So what he's overcome and all that, it's real. So I love
Wow.
that type. The real
Yeah.
lyric for me is the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why, people think, well, what do you listen to country music for? And all this is about trucks. I was like, if you listen to it, it actually tells a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what a
Absolutely.
song's supposed to do. It's supposed to engulf you with the music and the words.
Yeah.
So you remember those words when you sing with the song. And
Yeah.
that's healing, and that's positive energy you're flowing by
Yeah.
singing along with the artist.
And again, what we talked about, when you hear that song and it stays with you,
Yeah.
there's songs from my childhood. I just have to hear that song and I go back to that
Dude,
time. I
thank
hear
Yes.
it and it makes me
Yes.
happy and it
My
heals
whole
me now.
my
So,
whole
yeah.
playlist, dude, is like, okay, this is songs I grew up with. I've got to have
Mhm.
them on there. This is
Yes.
my before I was 10 years old. This is my 10 and up. This is like 2020. And stuff that my dad taught me to listen to, like the old 50s music. I love it.
Yeah.
He
I
got me
can't
to
stop
listen,
listening to it.
and then he got me to listen to like Glenn Miller Orchestra and the big swing bands.
Oh
I
yeah,
love that music. I don't know. I probably lived in that era before, but the music
Yeah.
to me is like it's so cool because you'll hear songs like, "Oh, I remember I was when this song came out," or "I was doing this," or it's like one of my favorite songs is Guns N' Roses' "Sweet Child of Mine"
yeah,
because it actually came out on September 27th, 1980. It was released date, and that's the day my daughter was born.
yeah. So that's
So
great.
I hear that song and I think about my daughter being born. I think about the big
Exactly.
band. I think about my grandparents.
But we use it in investigation too.
Mhm.
Right.
Sometimes you trigger things by playing the music from the era that you did your
Air
history
cues.
on.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
call it what is that called? The Shanghai theory, or
yeah,
you can call it air cues or whatever you
yeah,
want to. But yeah, I've got great results playing music from
heck
those
yeah.
time periods.
Yeah, you trigger somebody, but it's what I was talking about before when we were doing that SS method and we had that time slip, but I didn't tell you what my partner at the time was picking up on, all those sounds, but she was hearing music in the spirit box too over, it wasn't quick, it was like elongated out, and it
That's
was
bad. That's
that
pretty bad. Yeah.
ragtime piano music she was
Mhm.
hearing.
Oh my
It's almost
gosh.
like they used music to tell her where she was and what era she was in.
They did.
So
They
that's
were
when you have
they
to
were
pay attention. That's how they tell us sometimes in spirit. They'll play the music and you hear
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
and it's funny, dude. How many places I've gone to and I've heard drums play,
Hmm.
native drums, because I'm a drummer myself, so I hear
Yeah.
drums. But I love it when, like you said, you hear the old jazz time, ragtime music.
Oh yeah.
You hear, and I've actually heard like the big swing stuff. Hear it playing and hear the people talking and laughing,
Oh
glasses
god, yeah.
clinking, and
Yeah.
the energy of them dancing on the floor. You pick that up. It's like
Uh,
this is badass.
yeah.
yeah, you never know. It especially we talked about drumming. There's sometimes with certain Indian tribes, they have certain drum methods and all that.
Right.
And sometimes you
That's
can
right.
pick up on what tribe it is and
Yeah.
what you're dealing with, especially shamanically or anything like that,
Yes.
or just because I'm from Connecticut, pretty much all of Connecticut is Indian land.
Yeah.
You're going to run into that no matter what. You really have to deal with so many different layers of everything when you're doing these investigations,
Well,
knowing those things.
you guys probably already heard of this, but I've just recently started reading about the theory that our soul is not just a bit of energy, but it's also a wave that can
Yeah.
have a certain frequency.
It does have a frequency.
And
Yeah.
it's also got a substance to it, like a
Mhm.
cosmic substance. And so, I mean, it may not be able to be seen by our eye, but it's there. And it's more like the way I was trying to explain it to Matt when we were talking about it, it seems like it's a kind of information, whether it's got a tone to it based off the type of energy that makes you up the most, as well as the bit of memory, the tone, the energy, the memory, the color, even,
Hmm.
and how these patterns are in our brain, how they're released.
Mhm.
So you actually do leave part of you wherever you go,
Well,
and it's
that's
like
why
a
people
DNA, a spiritual DNA.
that's why you hear people say, "I'm glad you're on my wavelength," because that's literally what we're connecting with is we recognize each other's wavelengths that are good and positive, sometimes bad. But yeah, you're right. And it's amazing. And Tracy, thank you. You got me had that song Chantilly Lace in my head. It's a
Oh
great
yeah.
Yes,
song. Big bopper. I love that song. I like his
Yeah.
Little Red Riding Hood song too. That was pretty good.
it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Do you
But
ever
one of oh, it's
listen
one of those
to?
things. Sorry to interrupt you, but
I'm
I just
sorry.
wanted
Go
to
ahead.
get on that. You're. I'm like losing my train of thought, but you were talking about those wavelengths and all that, and being on the same wave and stuff. And I'm telling you, I'm getting lost with my words right now. I had something, and
I know I hate to do that.
yeah, I know I do this all the time.
I
It's
did
like
it
I had a
earlier.
yeah. It'll come to me. Don't
Okay.
worry. So.
Okay. Oh, I was just, trying to match up more of quantum physics and
Hmm.
science with some of the things that I've really been studying. in the paranormal world. And, other branches of science are really seriously considering, they're really looking at the existence of the soul. And they talk about it being a body of unknown energy coupled by human body means of mutual interaction. And the majority of that came from remote viewing,
Mm-hmm.
because several quantum physicists have actually broken down how to do remote viewing. And I just find that really fascinating. But the fact that scientists are finally accepting the idea of the eternal soul, Plato was right
Mm-hmm.
all this time, and what it means and how it could be part of energy, not just energy though, but a frequency.
Hmm.
I believe that.
Yep, and
Yeah.
that's the whole premise of how a ghost box works anyway.
Yes.
So,
It's all over the frequency and all about the energy. That's what's so beautiful about doing them. It's like, because you're getting that. And I love, and I don't know, a lot of people can do it like I can, but when I ground myself every night, I can actually feel energy coming down through my body.
Hmm.
And I feel the wavelengths. If if you ever looked at like old radios and was a radio scope where it does this up and down, that's
yeah.
the way I pick up the energy coming into my body, how I feel it going out of my body,
Hmm.
and it's pretty cool because it is a wavelength.
It is. Now,
Yeah.
listen to this one. Tracy Rizzo's in the chat. She said that she was deaf as a child and until she had surgery, and she had never heard the song, or music for that matter. But then after she had the surgery, she just started singing Chantilly Lace out of the blue.
Hmm.
And her father was stunned, and she was wondering if maybe that's from a past away, it's a member of the family that's passed away, or I think it might have been a
Yes,
past
Tracy.
life, you
Yeah.
know?
It was a past life, Tracy. That was something that was popular in your one of your lives. This is the one you had right
One
before
of
this
them.
one. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you did live in the 50s, and so you
Yeah.
would have heard those songs, and you might even listen to them because the parents didn't like it because it was rock and roll. So you listened
Mhm.
just because, which
The
most
Big
of us would,
Bopper.
the Big Bopper,
Yeah.
a
Well,
radio disc
especially,
jockey.
yeah, especially when you're listening to that rock music like you're talking about, Blaine.
Mhm.
And at the time, parents didn't want their kids listening to it.
Right.
And they listen to it like undercover, like, oh, I'm doing something bad. And that
Oh
energy
yeah,
that gets created of like, ooh, I hope I
yeah.
don't get caught and all that. And it puts so much more into the song on top
It's
of
just
that.
you're right. It's like so much excitement. It's like you got to worry about, am I going to get caught? Listen to this, but God, this is so good. I can't stop
Yeah.
listening to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and David Baird is talking about Lincoln Park, and wondering if
Mm,
we'd listen to it. And Chester Bennington, the lead singer, he died in 2017,
yep.
but he was saying that his music hits him hard because he listens to it now and he feels like, Chester was screaming out for help
Yeah,
when
he
he was
was.
singing it, and I feel like that is absolutely the case. And but it's interesting that David picked up on it. Um,
Yes,
I
Tracy, he
mean,
died
good
in
job, David.
1959. He died 1959 with Freddie Valance and uh, God, who was the other one?
Buddy Holly and
Buddy
Richie
Holly.
Valence.
Richie
Richie
Valance.
Valence, Buddy Holly. The day the
Yeah,
music died, that's what the
yeah.
song was written
Yeah.
about.
And the
But
funny thing, who did not get on the plane that was actually slated to go on the plane, and
yeah,
he
Who?
gave it up, Waylon Jennings.
Waylon
I
Jennings.
did
Yeah,
not know
Yeah,
that.
he was a
yeah,
rock and roll artist. He was playing with them, and he actually won a coin toss to get on the plane. And he's like,
yeah,
you know what? I think I'll just ride because
yeah. He was
he said he was,
Buddy Holly's bass player at the
yeah,
time. Yeah.
Dang.
you know, huh?
You know who I've been listening to a lot, and I know it's the song, not just the people that sang, but it's oh God, it's Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson,
The
Waylon,
Highwayman.
the
Highwayman.
Highwayman.
Yeah.
That song is it's in my head, man. And
Hmm.
it talks about I was a sailor, and then other guy was I worked on a dam,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
this other guy, died a different way. One was a starship, and that's so true. I mean, these
Yeah.
guys knew it even back then. And the only one that's well, there's Chris Christopherson. He's not in good shape now, but
Yeah.
Willie's the only one still hanging in.
It's
And
because he
Willie's
smokes
what
too much weed.
I know. Like Toby Keith has that song, "I'll never smoke weed with Willie again."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good tune.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm taking Matt on Wednesday to see Stevie Nicks.
Oh,
Oh
you
God.
still suck.
Yeah, yeah, he's over the
Oof.
moon. He's got a big
Oh,
Yeah.
old crush on Stevie, and I'm fine with that. That's just
I think
unbelievable.
she's a beautiful woman, and her voice is just
Yes,
angelic. I'm
it
Hmm.
sorry,
is.
hers is witchy. I like it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
gonna coast with the energy of the night, just kind of,
Go for it, and you'll love
Oh
it.
yeah.
And
oh, I
and
can't
she
wait.
puts. I've seen her perform, and she is so good live. You're thinking, you're like, God, this woman is amazing, because her voice it never cracked. It was the same voice the whole way through, and it was perfect. I'm like, that
Mhm.
is a damn singer right there.
I just
Yeah.
keep listening to well, watching the YouTube video that she did in Chicago live,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in 2003, and I just wow.
Hmm.
I can't stop. Okay, Tracy's saying another one of her favorite songs that she feels is very spiritual is the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and I
Yep.
agree with her. It is
Oh God,
very enchanting.
Yep.
what I'm trying to look at the name of that band.
I feel
Was
like
it?
it's taking us back to a
Oh,
moment that
that
it
it's history.
captured.
It's Gordon Lightfoot.
Gordon
Lightfoot.
Lightfoot,
Thank you.
everything he did was like that, though.
Yeah. 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 He's a
Okay,
great songwriter, folk artist. Yeah.
absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah.
Wow. What a
Uh,
great show tonight, guys. We're getting a
I
lot of
know.
people talking about it.
yeah.
Okay, Michael, we're listening to you about sage. You're talking to people that are either shaman or work with shamans. So you
Yeah.
got the right group now, Michael. And everyone, thank you so much for watching and for chiming in and being so communicative. We needed this tonight, and I'm going to
Yeah.
pull a card while we're wrapping the show up.
While you're pulling the card, I'm gonna tell them, Michael, whatever you want to know about sage. Okay. One, it is a great herb, and it has been used for millennium for different things. And there's some good health aspects for sage as well. It is an antibacterial. It kills
Mhm.
like bacteria and germs in your house. It keeps you healthy for one, and it tastes very good if you put it in food. Okay, it has so many uses.
Yeah.
Now, if we're spirit wise, there are some spirits that do not like sage at all, which is a good thing because they don't need to be around anyway. Now, if you've got Native American spirits there, they love sage. They love sweetgrass. They love tobacco.
Hmm.
Anything that you get them. And I love the smell of sage when it's burning, and it's so cleansing too. So,
Well, I'm a snob when it comes to sage. I like several kinds
me
for
too.
different things. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I like the white sage. That's the traditional, but I like the
Mm-hmm.
holy white sage, and that's where water from rain has to be kept, collected, and you can only water it with collected rainwater, and you can only use cotton to fertilize it. I mean, it goes through a lot
Mm-hmm.
of natural things. So the person that takes a lot of discipline for the person that grows it, but bergamot inside of sage. It has a sweetness about it, and it changes the energy of your home. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an amazing thing. It's not just for getting rid of negative things. It's a way of cleansing. And when you say cleansing, it's sort of like, okay, cleansing, what does that mean? Cleansing, are you getting rid of just negative? No, it means that sometimes you just need to change the energy in
Mm-hmm.
your house. Maybe you've got too much negativity, a lot of negative words. Sometimes you might just need to make the house feel more like your own. Maybe you're having strange dreams. But there's 9 different types of sage that can be used for smudging. You can also drink it. You can smoke it for
Yep.
that matter.
Yep.
I don't really like that, it tastes terrible. But
No.
black sage has a bit of mugwort in it, all right? It's got a real strong earthy aroma. Don't smoke that because it's a bit toxic.
A
It
little
can
bit.
make you really sick, but
Hmm.
it can make you have LSD type trips. but it's really, really good for calming down spirits in your home that are negative, to where you can, push them out of the house, and it will keep them from coming back. It's a very strong one, but the black sage, I like it. I think I like
Yeah,
it better. It helps with lucid dreaming. It helps with divination, uh, astral projection, protection altogether. So,
yeah. I think a lot of people got
blue
to be
sage.
careful with sage.
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you.
You got to be very careful with it, and how, like she's talking about cleansing a house. Um, you want to get rid of the negative, but sometimes sage will get rid of the positive too, put you back at square one. Sometimes that leaves the house open, so you want to make sure your intention is to keep the good there and move the
Mhm.
bad out and all that.
Yes,
So you gotta have that in mind. And another good thing is when you put together your bundle of sage, put it together yourself. Get the feel
yes.
for what's right for
Mhm.
you, and then it
Yep.
becomes part of you, and it becomes your intention. So,
Oh yes.
Now, salvia has been used for years in a peace pipe. Okay, that's blue sage. It's known as the grandmother sage. That kind of stuff is fantastic. It's great, refreshing scent. I love the smell of it. You could put it in with vinegar and use it for cleaning your house. It enhances psychic power. It's used for healing, relaxation. It's supposed to help you like with mental clarity. It's used with meditation. So,
mm,
and if you want to do a body detox, use desert sage because that's the one that you can drink. It helps stop migraines, which I've had to do quite some time. And another tasty one is pineapple sage. It tastes a little bit like pineapple, the pineapple, but tastes like tangerine. I don't know why they call it pineapple, but it's
mm.
so that one's for promoting positive energy and things like that. And it also helps detox your body with anti-inflammatory properties. So I don't remember the last one. I know it smells very sweet and it's good to like have happy thoughts and tranquility. Uh,
Maybe like sweetgrass or something.
yeah, it's like that. It's an aromatherapy type. It's used in a lot of skincare products too
Yeah.
because it opens your pores. So
Mm.
anyway, that's just a. I'm sorry, I nerded out on you.
Ain't
That's
nothing wrong with
okay.
that. That's informational.
Yeah, but see, you can look that
we're
up.
all, we're we're all glorious weirdos here, you know.
Yes,
Hey, I wear that freak flag with pride. Let me tell
Oh
you.
heck yeah, me
yes.
too.
If you're smudging your home, go backwards because you don't want to paint a spirit in a corner. Now it's
Hmm.
stuck there. So at the very end, if you'll get a broom and just sweep, it'll help aerate and get it out. But yeah, there are some types of sage. There are several that you can smoke or make a tea out of, but you really need to always look at the instructions. Make sure you know what you're doing. If you have any questions, be sure to ask your doctor.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, we're almost at the show.
I'm gonna
Good
say,
Yeah.
Lord.
don't you have one card read tonight?
I do. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is for you, Thomas. One card. Well, you want to do one card pull tonight, Blaine? Just
Yeah,
for
just one.
everybody or for
Yeah, what
Thomas?
do it for everybody. Thomas will be
Yeah.
included, so
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be a spectator right now.
There it is right there. All right. This one is okay. It's the challenge card. It's the trickster. See, can you see it okay?
mhm.
Looks like a trickster, right? The challenge card means that you have to be careful what's going on around you right now because there's a spirit that has your best intentions, but it might not come out the easy way. So, for everybody, that this is also a sign of not just change, but of positive change. Because when the trickster comes along, it's for your greater good. It means, hey, I want you to have a better, not only be in a better mind frame, but I also want you to learn something as you go. So, um, move out of your comfort zone and embrace these challenges, guys, and stop procrastinating and release control. And it says that you're going to have a great blessing coming. Upside down, inside out, 'tis what my medicine's all about. Chaos and change I bring with me in order that you can truly see.
Love it.
Uh-huh.
Definitely need that one.
Yeah,
Yep.
we all do.
See,
Yeah.
that resonated with every one of us. It's like, okay,
It
cool.
does.
A challenge. I accept the challenge. Let's go.
Yep.
That's it. I'm
I
with it.
thrive on challenges. Thank you.
You have to in life. You can't
Yes.
move on in life without that challenge.
Thank you,
If we just sit here and do nothing, we're never going to improve. So,
dude. Dude, words never better spoken. Let me tell you.
How can people reach you, Thomas?
well, I am on Facebook, Thomas Patrick Gormley, Instagram, Archangel of the Paranormal, TikTok, Archangel of the Paranormal. I'm on YouTube, of course. I'll be on a TV show next year. I think, I don't know, around this time. I think they're still in season 1, episode 4, but I'm doing a lot of stuff. But email me. Archangel of the Paranormal at gmail.com. I could send you some of our events that are coming up. Just make sure you be there. I'm always advertising them. But I'm always around for everybody, friend requests and all that. As long as you're not like a phony person,
Yes.
one of those bots or anything. I usually could pick up on that pretty quick. But,
Oh,
a
no.
lot of times, fellow friends and all that is always good. So, and, I'm always there to console people, anything that they want to know, getting close to 40 years of experience doing all this stuff. So I want to just pass that along,
Right on.
try and pass along my legacy to somebody else.
That's
Dude, that's the way to
awesome.
do it. That's the
Yep.
way to
I
do it.
appreciate that you want to do all you can to help people. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this is a Cherokee prayer. This is a beautiful prayer, and this is to do with wedding, but I think it's beautiful for every occasion. God in heaven above, please protect the ones we love. We honor all you created as we pledge our hearts and live together. We honor Mother Earth and ask for our life to be abundant and to grow stronger through the seasons. We honor the fire, and we ask that our union be warm and glowing with the love in our hearts. We honor the wind, and we ask that we sail through life safe and calm in our Father's arms. And we honor water to clean and smooth our relationship and our lives, that it may never thirst for love. And with all the forces of the universe you have created, we pray for harmony and true happiness as we forever grow young and in love. Aho. Thank you for listening to Family Spirit International.
Thank y'all.
Attention, attention.